Okay.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, All You Need to Know About Illinois Centers for Independent Living, CIL. Today's webinar is presented by Megan Norlin, the project assistant at INCIL, which is Illinois Network of Centers for Independent Living. My name is Christine Beck. I am the organizational director of the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance, or we call ourselves the Alliance for short. The Alliance is proud to be an initiative of the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities. As a reminder, all attendees are in listen-only mode. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the Alliance's website under webinars, as well as will be posted and distributed through the Alliance's Facebook page. I hope that everyone is well and is continuing to kind of sort out the daily new normal that we all are experiencing together. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. So a little bit about the Alliance, who we are. We are a network of advocates and self-advocacy groups around Illinois. And the image on the screen is 15 people, some standing and some sitting, all holding white pieces of paper. This image was taken in October of 2019, and this image represents the graduates of the Alliance's Ambassador Leadership Training Program. Our vision is for self-advocates to work together to get the support we need and to live the life we want in the community. Our mission is to speak up for ourselves and each other while working together to make changes in our communities and in Illinois. Our focus is on empowering people to speak up about what they want and need, what they don't want and don't need, to action plan their goals, and to participate in advocacy at the personal, agency, community, and statewide levels. And so what does the Alliance do? We do a lot of different things. We support local groups, we work together on important issues, and we offer networking, advocacy, and learning opportunities through our monthly newsletters, our webinars, the Alliance Ambassador Leadership Program, and our Training Institute. And the image on the upper right-hand side of the screen is a person with pink skin, short brown hair, wearing glasses, and holding papers. And the image on the screen now is an outline of the state of Illinois. There are stars scattered on the map of the state of Illinois, and these stars represent where the Alliance currently has member groups. And so in the northern part of the state, the Alliance has member groups in Zion, McHenry, and Dixon. Chicago and the surrounding areas are well represented with member groups in Alsop, Aurora, Brookfield, Chicago, Chicago Heights, Elgin, Evanston, Evergreen Park, Hanover Park, Homewood, Mount Prospect, Rolling Meadows, and Westmont. In the central part of the state, the Alliance is proud to have member groups in Rock Island, Pontiac, Galesburg, Tremont, Bloomington, Beardstown, Jacksonville, Decatur, and Monticello. And in the southern part of the state, the Alliance has member groups in Alton, Edwardsville, Mattoon, Charleston, and Paris. And like I am fond of saying, no matter where you live, no matter where you work, or no matter where you play, chances are there is a self-advocacy group or a self-advocate speaking up and speaking out near you.
Mhm.
And so now I'd like you to meet the presenter, Megan Norlin. And the image on the screen is a smiling woman wearing glasses with pink skin and long brown hair. So, Megan, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm really glad to be here, and thank you so much to Christine and the people of the Alliance for asking me to do this webinar for you. As Christine said earlier, again, my name is Megan Norlin, and I am the project assistant for the Illinois Network of Centers for Independent Living, or to shorten that, we're INCIL. And I'm also a Partners in Policymaking graduate of 2018. I know there are a few Alliance advocates who have gone through the training program for Partners in Policymaking. There are a few Alliance folks in there now. And I was happy to be a part of it. And I'm actually also a faculty advisor for the current class. So it's great to still be a part of them. And I'm also just happy to be back here with you guys. I've done a couple of webinars with the Alliance before, and I'm just thrilled to be here. So again, thank you very much. If you want to, there you go. So we're going to start you out. We're going to put you to work for a little bit, and we're going to start you out with a little poll. So we want to know if you have heard of of Centers for Independent Living, or CILs. So if you want to answer that question for us,
Sure.
we're excited to know.
Yes. So this is Christine. And again, as Megan said, here's an opportunity to speak up and speak out. Have you heard of a Center for Independent Living? And there should be a poll on your screen. You can click yes if you have, click no if you haven't. If you are joining us by yourself, this should be easy for you to answer. If there are a couple people with you checking out this webinar, you may have to ask the majority of people that are with you if you've heard of a Center for Independent Living. So I'm going to go ahead and I will be closing the poll and putting the responses on the screen. And so, yes, 100%
Awesome.
of people have heard of a Center for a Center for Independent Living. So wonderful.
That's awesome. And we're going to talk about that a little more, and we're going to show folks who might be listening to this later, how to find their CIL if they haven't. But that's great that you have. So what is a CIL? Again, CIL, C-I-L, stands for Center of Independent Living. CILs and all CILs everywhere are non-residential, which means nobody lives in a CIL. And CILs are for people with disabilities by people with disabilities. And what that means is most people with disabilities, and the actual statistic is right there on the screen, 51% of board members and staff have to be people with disabilities. And that's federally mandated. And it's a cross-disability organization, so people with all different kinds of disabilities, people who use wheelchairs, people who don't, people who live with chronic illnesses, people who are blind or deaf or are on the autism spectrum. So it's a cross-disability organization. I'm going to go to there we go. And then more about what is a CIL. CILs, and just like the Alliance believes, CILs believe that all people with disabilities have the right and responsibility to control their own lives and participate fully and equally in the community. And I know that sounds familiar to all of you. That's what we're all here for. And on the screen below the text, towards the bottom of the slide, we have a couple of pictures. The first one over to the left of the screen is is a green sign with the words that say disability rights equal human rights written in black. That sounds pretty good to me, right? Disability rights or civil rights. And then on the right side of the screen, we have a person wearing a red hat and dark sunglasses holding a sign with the words that say nothing about us without us written in purple. And again, I know you guys have heard that many times. It's all over the disability community, and it's what we all believe in. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the disability movement, just a little bit. CILs were, or about the history of Centers for Independent Living, rather. So CILs were started by a man named Ed Roberts, and he's on the screen, on the right side of the screen, but I'll talk about that picture in just a second. The first CIL was opened in 1972 in Berkeley, California, and there are now, from 1972 to today, that number, that one CIL grew into 400 CILs all across the United States. So it was really a movement, and it took over the country. And I know you guys don't need me to delve too much into the history of the disability rights movement and the history of Centers for Independent Living, because you, the Alliance, already have a webinar called The History of the Disability Rights Movement, which was recorded on May 22nd, 2019. So for the people listening today and for the people listening later, I hope you go out and check that out. Pretty good webinar. And as I said, I'm going to talk about the picture on the screen here. That is a picture of Ed Roberts, and it's a black and white picture. Well, one of the guys in the picture is Ed Roberts. It's a black and white picture. It's two men with light skin and beards and mustaches holding signs that say civil rights for the. I'm sorry, I can't see quite what that text says. Box is in my way. I'm gonna scooch it out of the way so I can see. Civil rights for the disabled. I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to make sure I said it right. Anyway, so that's Ed. And that was the guy who started it all, one of them anyway. All right. And we have some an exciting new development that's going to actually happen tomorrow. There is a documentary coming out on Netflix tomorrow. That's March 25th, 2020, called Crip Camp. And the basis of the film is on the heels of Woodstock, so that big concert from the 60s. A group of teen campers, oh my goodness, are inspired to join the fight for disability and civil rights. This spirited look at grassroots activism is executive produced by President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. We know them. And it was the footage was filmed in 1971 at Camp Gen Ed in Hunter, New York. So this is a camp put on for people with disabilities. And from there, what do people always say? Something I know Christine and the Alliance folks always say. We're stronger when we work together. So those kids started talking to each other, and they started to talk about how, they wish they were more involved in the world, and they wish they had access to employment, access to just transportation, being able to go out when they wanted to go out, and they wished it was easier for them to go to school. And they started to talk to each other and said, hey, everybody else is doing all these things to demand civil rights for people that they care about. Why aren't we doing that? So Crip Camp is a documentary about that story and how all of that came to be. So that's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm going to be watching. And on this next slide, we have a couple of stills from the movie. The first one on the left is a man with dark skin is carrying a man with light skin. Both men are smiling. People are sitting in wheelchairs. A man with pink skin and dark sunglasses and curly hair is standing. And then on the other one, the first one was black and white. This next one is colored. And there's two men are, or sorry, two women are sitting in wheelchairs and looking at a camera. Two people are hugging, and one person is standing and looking at the camera. These are just stills from the photos of people being together. Stills from the documentary. All right, so stills in Illinois. So I said there were 400 stills in the United States. Illinois has 22 of those stills, and the network of those, the guys that are supposed to support them, that would be us, the Illinois Network of Centers for Independent Living. And this is a little bit about what INCIL does. As the Association of Stills, we advocate for independence, inclusion, equal opportunity, and civil rights in every arena. We serve as an authoritative source for many critical issues facing the disability community. So I'll say this a little bit more later, but our job is to sort of support all of the CILs, all the 22 CILs that work within our network, and support them and keep them running, and make sure we all help each other to keep everybody up to date about what's going on in the disability advocacy community, and make sure that everybody has the resources that they need to advocate and then to support the people that they serve on a personal level. All right, we go to the next slide. There we go. So I said I'd talk about this a little bit more. So we have some things in common, INCIL and the Alliance. So just like the Alliance is a network of self-advocacy groups in Illinois, again, we are a network of Centers for Independent Living in Illinois. So again, INCIL's job is to support all of those 22 CILs and make sure that they have everything that they need to succeed, and to support the consumers, the people who come into their CIL's doors and say, I need services, I need help, I need some advocacy advice. And then that's what the Alliance does for you guys. You guys are doing the work of advocating, but if you need anything, the Alliance is right there to help you, aren't they? So that's kind of what INCIL does for our CILs. And on this slide also, we have on the side is the INCIL logo, which is big blue letters just spelling out INCIL. And then on the left side is your beloved Alliance logo, the logo for the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance with letters in black and purple, and the state of Illinois in black and purple with hands touching. So those are our logos, and we're doing the same work. And this next slide here is a representation of where all the, in the beginning of the webinar, Christine showed the black and white map with all the stars on it to show where all you advocacy groups are. This is the representation of where all of our CILs are located. So this map is the map of Illinois with location of CILs noted with blue dots and white letters, and the different CILs are indicated with different colors. There's some that are yellow and red and green. It doesn't make them any more important or less important. We just wanted to make them look different so people could see them. You will notice on a couple parts of this map there is some white space, particularly in southern Illinois. That just means that some services that CILs offer are kind of limited there. Unfortunately, just because they're still working on getting the resources needed to to completely provide all of the core services, but all of the CILs do what they can. So the INCIL wanted to make sure that that was clear, that we're still working on growing the CILs for those particular counties. If that makes any sense. All right, we go to the next one. So here's another poll for you guys. You've seen the map of where the CILs are located. So we would like to know, I know it said 100% of people here know have heard of CILs. So now we want to know if you know the CIL closest to you, and if you could tell us which one it is. So Christine's pulled up another poll. So answer that yes or no, and then fill in the answer and tell us which CIL is closest to you.
All right, thank you, Megan. This is Christine. So here's another opportunity to speak up and speak out, even if it's just using your control panel. We know there's lots of different ways to speak up and speak out. So again, the question is, do you know the CIL or Center for Independent Living that's closest to you? Yes or no. And then I know this isn't part of the poll that you can click on, but you can use your control panel to send us a message. Which one is closest to you? So right now we have about, well, almost 70% of you have voted. We'll leave it open for just a couple more seconds, but 100% of you who have voted said, yes, I know the CIL or Center for Independent Living that is closest to me. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and I'm going to put up the results, which is, drum roll please, 100%. And yeah, Megan, let me share what folks have said. So Amy said SAIL. SAIL is, and it is SAIL. And I believe that stands for Soyland Access for Independent Living. Amy, if you can correct me, that would be wonderful. But Amy says that SAIL, S-A-I-L, is the closest Center for Independent Living to her. So anybody else want to share what Center for Independent Living is closest to you? All right, let's see. And Anne, I see Anne is from Southern Illinois Case Coordination Services, which is an independent service coordination, an ISC. We have all these acronyms, right? We're trying not to talk in alphabet soup, but Anne raised her hand and said she knows her. Let me go to the messages. Amy did say Soyland Access to Independent Living in Charleston is closest to her. Richard said SAIL is closest to him. We have
both represent SAIL. Cool.
Yeah, SAIL represent. All right, Sally at KCCDD in Galesburg said Stone Hayes is the Center for Independent Living near her. Richards also said that SAIL stands for Soyland Access to Independent Living. So thank you, Richard. And it looks like that's all we have right now. So let's find out what Centers for Independent Living do.
All right. So thank you for sharing those with us, you guys, and thanks for reading them off, Christine. So what do CILs do? So CILs offer 5 core services, and those are all listed here. The first one is information and referral, and the second is independent living skills training. The third is peer counseling. The fourth is individual and systems advocacy, which again, I know you guys know all about that. And the fifth is transition support, and that used to be known as community reintegration. get more into that in the next slide. So those are our 5 core, in the following slides, those are our 5 core services. The first one, as I shared, is information and referral, and that the basic explanation of that is giving information when people ask for it, and referring people to another agency or service if they need it. If the CIL can't provide it themselves, then most staff know where to send people who do. And everybody in the CIL does this. Every staff person, no matter what their job is, does this in some way, shape, or form. So that's a major thing that CILs do, and we do have a little graphic for you here at the bottom right of the screen, and it says it has letters spelling out info in different colors, in different color backgrounds too. That's our little graphic for you. And then the second service is independent living skills and training. So that means helping people get the skills, support, and resources they need to live in community as independently as possible. We all know that everybody needs help, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the CIL's job is to make sure that we make sure people get the help that they need, and if there is a way for somebody to do something completely on their own, we help them get the technology, the resources, the whatever they need to do that. And then CIL staff will show them how to do that if they need further training on, say, a piece of technology, or how to maybe adapt their home a little bit better. CIL staff would be able to train somebody to help them do that. And we have another picture here for you, again on the bottom right, and it's a person with dark skin and hair, wearing glasses, with a radio and a cane. So he's out living independently, hanging out, listening to the radio. All right. So a little bit more about examples of independent living skills and training. And other examples, of independent living skills and training are helping people learn a bus route if they've just moved, or maybe they feel ready. Maybe they've lived somewhere their whole lives, and they now feel ready, to learn how to use a bus, how to manage the bus. You can use these services at any time. It's not just for people who are just moving somewhere, or you don't have to do it right away. Another example would be helping people find a personal support worker or personal assistant. And that's somebody who, for those of you who don't know, that's someone who would come into your house and help you with daily living activities, like if you needed help with cooking, cleaning, washing dishes, if you needed help getting dressed, or anything related to your personal day-to-day care. That's what a personal assistant does, and that's one of the major services that CILs offer. And that's something that I actually do. With INCIL, we have a personal assistant program with INCIL, and we're trying to make it easier for people to find personal assistants, no matter where they live in the state of Illinois. We're hoping that will make it easier also if somebody had to move, because what we're doing is we're trying to put all of PA records into one big database, and we're hoping that if somebody moved, like if somebody who needs a personal assistant had to move somewhere, or if a personal assistant themselves had to move, it would be easier for the people to get PAs or find work if you are a PA. They wouldn't have to start over. Another example is helping people find a way to pay for home modifications. So say you're moving into a new house or apartment, or you're maybe something about your disability and the way you function changes, and you need some sort of adaptation. a SIL can help you find what you need to make it easier for you to live well in your home. And then, of course, SILs also help people navigate the Department of Rehab Services, or DRS. We all know that disability systems can be a little complicated, so SILs have people on staff that are well versed in that, and they help people who especially are new and they don't really know how to do it. SIL staff help them navigate that because it can get complicated. So on to the next thing. The next thing we offer, SILs offer, is peer counseling, and that simply means people helping people, right? We all help each other, and I know you guys do the same, and everybody in the SIL does this. And again, this recalls back to what I said earlier about the 51% federal mandate, that 51% of the staff of a SIL and 51% of the board of SILs have to be people with disabilities. So when you call a SIL and you talk to SIL, you ask them for help, for resources, for whatever you're calling for, you're talking to somebody more than likely that has personal experience with navigating the world with a disability. So the peer counseling is kind of built in there. And we've got another graphic for you on the right side of your screen, and it is a street sign, and with white words, and the several signs on one post, and the signs say help, tips, assistance, guidance, support, advice. And the signs those letters are on a green background, and the signs are pointing in different directions. That's a little graphic for you, and that illustrates perfectly exactly what peer counseling is. And then, of course, individual and systems advocacy. That's what we're all doing, right? Christine talked about that earlier in the webinar, that you advocate on local and state levels. Well, those do the same thing. And what would we all be doing if we weren't, heading to the Capitol every once in a while? So again, we advocate on individual, local, state, and federal, or we're involved in individual, local, state, and federal advocacy. And on the right side of this screen, there is a beautiful picture of the Illinois State Capitol building, which is right here in Springfield, where I'm located and where the INCIL office is. All right. And then the next service I'm going to expand upon is the transition support, formerly known as community integration. So this is helping people transition out of nursing homes or institutions to live in the community. This is a big one, right? So staff have people dedicated who their main job is to help people who say they got very sick or got hurt and they had to go stay in the hospital for a while. Their whole job is to help them get back to living into the community. Or if there is somebody, unfortunately, living in an institution that's trying to get out, there are still staff that work with them to try to find them a place to live in the community. And still staff all work very hard, but this is in and of itself a complicated issue, and transition support staff at SILs work incredibly hard at what they do. And we have, to illustrate this, that it's all about moving, we have a little graphic on the right. That's a brown moving box with the word moving on it. So that's what the transition support is all about. Moving out into the community and living independently. All right. So here's another speak up and speak out for you guys listening to me. We have another question for you, which is, I've gone over the 5 core services, the basic stuff about them. So we would like to know, which one of these 5 core services are you interested in learning more about? And this is going to come in handy at the end of the webinar. So Christine pulled up the poll here. For those of you listening, pick which one, and you know what? If it's hard for you to pick one, it's okay. You can always research any one of these 5 things on your own time. But we just want to know right now what's pulling on you the most right now.
Well, thank you, Megan. And again, this is Christine, and this is an opportunity for you to speak up and speak out. Letting us know, which of these 5 core services are you interested in learning more about? And you can actually vote for more than one.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you can vote for more than one. I believe that's how I set that up. But what would you like to learn about? Information and referral, independent living skills training, peer counseling, individual and systems advocacy, or transition support. So we'll go ahead and leave this up a little bit longer. It looks like about half of you participating in this webinar have voted. That's slowly ticking up. It'll be exciting for you to see all of the results. So I'm going to leave it open 5 more seconds, then I will close it and put it on the screen. So here we go. Let's share the results. Yeah.
It's pretty. I like it. It's all different colors.
Yeah, and
this is great.
So 29% of you who responded said, I'd like more information about information and referral. 57% said independent living skills training. 43% peer counseling. And, I think that's important at times such as these, that we reach out to others and talk about things that maybe are making us afraid, frustrating us, maybe some things that you're happy about. We can still find things to be happy about during these days. 71% would like information on individual and systems advocacy, and 14% on transition support.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yep.
That is so exciting, and thank you so much for answering our question here. So something I wanted to talk about, like I said, again, we have 22 CILs in the state of Illinois, and every CIL is a little bit different. So CILs offer those 5 core services, but the way that they offer them, or the way that a CIL is staffed maybe, and what a person's particular job might be a little bit or a person's particular job in each CIL might be a little bit different than the next. Some CILs are bigger than the other. Some CILs, depending on where they are, might have a little bit easier access to certain resources, and other CILs might. I think it's still possible, but they may have to get a little bit more creative how they get the job done. But every CIL is a little different, and that's what makes them so great, because they're for the people, by the people, right? So they're going to be different depending on where you are and what the areas that they serve and what its needs are, if that makes sense. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some different jobs that people hold at different CILs. So we talked about the services that CILs offer, but who are the people that are providing these services? So most CILs have personal assistant coordinators. I talked a little bit about PAs, personal assistants, and that's kind of what I do most of my work in. So these are the people that will help people find a personal support worker, a personal assistant. They'll send them a list of names that a person can call and interview. It's all about consumer control, so it's up to the person who needs the PA to interview the potential personal assistant. But if a person maybe needed help coming up with interview questions, or if they had any sort of, issue with a PA perhaps, or if a PA was having some kind of issue, that personal assistant coordinator would be the one to help with that. And the next bullet down is the youth services coordinator. Youth services coordinator are people that work with kids kids who are still in school, kids who are in high school, kids who are transitioning from high school to the adult, quote unquote, real world. It's all real, right? But it's just a different phase of life. And we have an exciting thing now called Fast Track, and it's the program that was developed by one of our 22 CILs. The CIL that developed it is INCIL. Again, more alphabet soup, but Northwestern Illinois Center for Independent Living developed this program, and it's a program that is geared toward people who are in high school, so 14 and a half to 22, call those transition age youth, and it's all about transitioning to adulthood, learning skills, job searching, working on communication skills, all of that. So that's something that if you are interested in youth services, if you wanted to know more about what they do themselves, you could ask them about Fast Track. Another position that is at some CILs is the Deaf Services Coordinator. That's a branch of independent living, right? But that's somebody who specializes a little bit more in services and technology that people who are deaf might need. And the same for the next bullet, Blind Services Coordinator. Same thing, but slightly different population. Like I said, CILs are a cross-disability organization, so we try to make sure everybody is covered. And sometimes having somebody that is that one thing is their specialty is a good thing, because those people really spend most of their time doing that and really know what they're talking about. And we've got another graphic for you on the right-hand side of the screen. It's 4 blue squares with white pictures in each. There's the wheelchair symbol, a person in a wheelchair, a brain, hand doing sign language, and a person walking with a cane in each of those 4 squares. So that's our little graphic. Some more jobs. Some CILs have independent living advocates. So those are the people that you call. Again, every CIL is a little different, but if you are having trouble accessing transportation, say, or maybe you're thinking about modifying your home, but you're not quite sure how to go about that, or you need some kind of service, you might be talking to an independent living advocate. Some CILs have people that we know that housing is important. It's an important ingredient to independent living, isn't it? So some CILs have people who specialize in housing and helping people find accessible housing and safe housing, and advocating for the same as well. And then there are some CILs that have people that their main job is to just be an advocate and to coordinate the different advocates within the CIL. So some CILs have people who advocate for specific issues, and the advocacy coordinator would oversee all of those. And then there are community reintegration coordinators. Those are the people that do transition services. So if there's somebody that's looking to go from the hospital to home, or from an institution to living on their own, or whatever the situation might be, the person that you would talk to help you do that would be the community reintegration coordinator and their staff. And again, we got another graphic for you. It's a sign with the words that say Generation ADA is here to stay in the fight for disability rights. And those words are written in black on a red background. I don't know, that sounds pretty good to me. I don't think we're going anywhere. So that's that one. And then I know all of you are educated and you're with it. The people that are on this webinar now have already done this. But for anybody listening to this in the future, or if any of you listening want to help other people find their CILs, this is how you do it. So you can go to our website, INCIL's website, www.incil.org/locate. and then find your county on the map and click on it. And all of those counties on this map are links, direct links to your CILs website. And we have a screenshot of that very map on the right-hand side of your screen. It's, like I said, it's a map of Illinois with the names and locations of all the counties written in white. You just gotta go along the map till you find your county, click on it, and you'll go right to your website for yourself. And if you have limited internet access, or you just maybe don't want to look it up that way, you can always call INCIL, and you'll actually, if you do that, you'll be talking to me. Or you send me an email at Megan, MEGAN.Norlin, NORLIN, at IllinoisCILs.org. That's part of my job, is to help people get pointed in the right direction, and I genuinely am happy to do it. And if you have a question about any of the things that I've been talking about here today, if I don't know, somebody else will. So it's my job to help to do that information and referral, right? To help you find the information you're looking for. And on the right-hand side of this screen, we have a blue telephone and a white envelope with a blue card in it. So that's phone or email. But yeah, those are two, well, I guess 3 ways to find yourself. And we're almost done. I know I've been talking a lot, and you guys have been a great audience. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about how we can help each other. I already talked about how INCIL and the Alliance have a lot in common. We're all doing similar things. We're all in the same line of work, and we all do better when we all work together, don't we? So I wanted to talk a little bit about how we can help each other, and I have a little challenge for you. Don't worry, it's not super heavy, but I do like to put people to work. So on this screen, on the left-hand side, there's a person in a wheelchair wearing a red shirt and a yellow hat, and he is racing. He's racing in his wheelchair and going through a blue finish line tape. So he's almost at the finish line, just like us. All right. So as I said earlier, we are stronger when we work together. So here's one major way that you can help us, and we can help each other, is help us advocate. The Alliance and INCIL are both in the business of advocating for disability rights, aren't we? So if there's a bill or an idea out there that is important to you, make sure we know about it. So you have my contact information, you have the INCIL website on the previous couple of slides ago. So get a hold of us, tell us, make sure we know about it. Because we try to keep up on those things, but the more people we have telling us about what we should be looking for, the better. And then another way is help us, if there's a piece of information or some resources that you have that you have used and found useful, please tell us that and make sure that we know it, because we have multiple ways of getting information out to people. We got email lists, we have meetings in our office all the time. So if there's any resources that you use that you think would be useful to us and to your community, make sure we know about it so we can pass it on. And on this screen we have a flyer on the left-hand side for the legislative breakfast that we held. That's a major advocacy day for us. That was just earlier this month, and that was an initiative put on by us, and the ARC was involved, and so was SILC, the Statewide Independent Living Council, and that was, we went over to the cafeteria in the Stratton building, and we met with politicians, and we told them what bills they should support and what was important to us. So that's one major thing that INCIL does. That's a major thing that we do. So the more we help each other, get ready for events like that, the better off we'll be. So if you want to be involved, that's a simple way to do it. Just share, tell us what you know. All right. So then I said I had a little challenge for you, and it's not heavy, but I want to get get people working together more. I love seeing people work together. So for those of you who might be listening that don't know your CIL, I challenge you to go to our website or give me a call and contact your CIL, get the information for your CIL, contact them, or take a look around their website and look over the job examples that we talked about. Okay, and I want you to think about, like earlier, we asked you which of the core services you were interested in. Now I want to get you thinking about which of those jobs that I talked about, which of the jobs that are listed on the CIL's website, which of those sound the most interesting. And then contact your CIL, and we'll go to the next slide, and I'll finish off the challenge. So after you figure that out, after you find out what's interesting to you and look around your CIL's website, find something that interests you, call the person at your CIL that does that job or works on an issue you care about. And again, part of my job is making sure that people get pointed in the right direction when they need some help, right? So if you need help figuring this out, if you're like, oh, I'm interested in that youth services, let's say. I'm interested in youth services. I'm not sure who to talk to, and my CIL, can you help me find it? Yeah, I can do that. Happy to do that. So then my challenge beyond that is ask the person who does that job, who works in youth services, if we're going to go off the example that I just gave, ask the person that does that job that interests you some questions about what it is they do, or how does their CIL offer those 5 core services, or maybe how you can get involved. And then of course tell them about yourself. Let them know that you are if you're not already involved with your CIL, let them know that you're a potential consumer and that you're out there and that you could be an ally for them, because again, we're all in this together. So that's my simple challenge. So that's about it. So one final major question I have for you is, what comments, questions, or considerations do you have for me?
All right, so here's another time for you to speak up and speak out. Go ahead and type it in using your control panel. We'll read your question, comment, or consideration out loud. Megan, I do have a question for you. I know that a
Absolutely.
lot of services are shut down right now. And so if people try to call INCIL, or the Illinois Network of Centers for Independent Living, or if they tried to call their local Center for Independent Living, are they operating as usual right now?
So right now, because of this whole business with COVID-19, there are many CILs who have decided to either work remotely or have sort of different hours, or maybe they're limiting the time that they actually spend talking to people one-on-one. But also, we take our jobs very seriously, and we know that independent living needs don't just stop when there's a crisis, right? So people might have problems, people might need help with something. So every CIL still is contactable. It just might be a little bit slow, and sometimes, or INCIL, for example, well, we are all working from home right now, and currently, if you still call that INCIL number 217-525-1308, that number still works, and that number actually comes to my phone. So you're still going to be talking to me if you call that number. And we still offer support with the PA. We have a personal assistant hotline that people can call if they need help finding work or finding a PA. Then that is still running, and that's actually going to my boss at the moment, because we want to make sure that if anybody has an emergency, if heaven forbid their personal assistant got sick and somebody was left without a PA, we're trying to make sure our emergency plan is working well. So right now he's running that. but either way, you'll get a hold of us and you'll get a hold of your CIL. And again, if you have any trouble, please, please, please let me know, because I want to help you.
Well, with that, I have just put up the slide sharing Megan's contact information. And again, it's Megan Norlin, Project Assistant. When the office is open, it is located at 1 West Old State Capitol Plaza, Suite 501 in Springfield, Illinois. But please note, it is closed right now. You can reach Megan by phone at area code 217-525-1308. You could also email Megan at megan.norlin@illinoiscils.org. That is MEGAN.NORLIN, the @ symbol, ILLINOISCILS.org. Or you can check out the INCIL website at www.INCIL.org. And the graphic on this screen is in the lower right-hand corner, and it's the Facebook logo, which contains the letter F in lowercase in white on a blue square background. And I just want to share information about the Alliance. The Alliance can be reached by email at info@selfadvocacyalliance.org. Our website is selfadvocacyalliance.org, and it will be on our website that you'll be able to access a recording of this webinar, as well as recordings of the disability history that Megan referenced earlier in the presentation, as well as a lot of other webinars. You can also find us and like us on Facebook by just searching for Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. And the image on the screen is a person with pink skin, short brown hair, raising the right hand in a fist. The person is wearing a purple shirt with the words "Ask Me About the Alliance" written in white. And again, if you have any last-minute questions, comments, or contributions, go ahead and put those in right now before we close. I'm not seeing any at this time. Just keep it open another second as we give Megan the opportunity to share any last minute words with us.
I don't, I was just really happy to be here, and I really hope that you will, I know you guys that are already listening already know where to go to for your CIL. You're already connected with them, but I hope you'll take an opportunity to maybe get a little more connected, maybe learn a little bit more about them. And if anybody's listening to this later, I hope you will connect with them if you haven't already. And I was just really happy to do this for you guys. And again, if you need any help connecting with your Center for Independent Living, or you have any questions for me about the stuff that I said here, I am working. I'm at home, and I admit I'm wearing my pajamas, but I'm still working. So if you need any help or have any questions, or just want to shoot ideas at me about how CILs and the Alliance can work together a little bit better, please get a hold of me.
All right. And we did have one comment that came in from Richard. And Richard said, "Good job, Megan and Christine."
Well, thank you very much, sir. I did try.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you, everyone who joined us today. Thank you for those of you who joined us through the recording. Please, everyone, Be well and stay safe. Bye-bye.